that just opened from a long break, and he was like, hello. That was banter.
No, I don't know what you mean. Guys, welcome back to another episode of Block, Stock and Three Smoking Bros.
Cue little clap.
Cue a clap. Today's absolutely incredible guest is Dan Merriman. Daniel or Dan?
Either or, Dan.
I'm going with Dan. Yeah. Dan Merriman, the latest winner of MasterChef Professionals. Mate, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. We are super excited. I'm conscious that you're supposedly been pulled around like a bit of meat at the moment. So to take your time to come up here is, we're really thankful for that. So how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's very overwhelming, like, winning MasterChef, and all of a sudden, your followers grow like 10,000 overnight, and then it just carries on going, and that sort of thing. And obviously, brands getting in contact and stuff. But I'm trying to just process it and accept it all and enjoy it.
Mate, amazing. I think what we're going to do to start this off, because there's going to be quite a few people that don't know who you are. They've seen your MasterChef. They don't know any backstory. We have a little feature here. James leads this one. It's a supermarket sweep type affair where he's just going to quick fire some questions at you. There could be anything.
There could be anything.
There could be absolutely anything. I think we've got some sound effects for this.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Okay, I need to get into the voice. Okay, Dan, welcome to Supermarket Sweep. You've got to grab three things off your... You've got to grab three things off... We've got to start again. Right, then Dale needs to have a word with himself.
Come on, Dale. Sort it out. Let's go. You ready?
Right, sorry, one more time.
Come on. 3, 2, 1, Supermarket Sweep. Let's go.
Right, Dale Winton here with your Supermarket Sweep. We've got Dan Merriman, and we want to know, what are you pulling off the shelf? You've got three things to pull together a memorable summer barbecue. What are those three things you're putting in your basket?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Burnt burgers.
Burnt burgers.
Yeah, burnt burgers. Richmond sausages. And very undercooked onions.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Nice. Okay. Okay, I feel like that might have been a lie.
That's like one of Al's barbecues.
You must have been. This one's inspired by Al.
Outrageous.
So you're pulling off bangers, burgers, and what was the third?
Undercooked onions.
Undercooked onions, fair enough. Okay.
And that's how we won MasterChef.
Yeah. Outside and on the inside.
Okay, right, okay. So we're starting off strong. Fair play. We've got a few questions. I guess we just want to know a bit more about you, maybe questions that you have or haven't been asked, a bit more about yourself rather than just kind of the superficial, what was it like, the things that we kind of know are going to be overwhelming, you've kind of alluded to. We want to find out a little bit about your early memories of food and kind of where it started. So I think kind of first place that we would go is as an early memory, what was your first food memory that made you think about food specifically?
It weren't until quite later on in my life, to be honest. So it was more like probably 17, 18. Met a guy, Chris Lovell. He was head pastry chef for John Campbell at the Vineyard. And he sort of like exposed me to the world of fine dining. So that will always stick with me. Yeah. It's the first time I ever saw caviar, foie gras, duck, things like that. So, when I was a young kid, food wasn't really a thing. It was a necessity.
It was a fuel.
Exactly. Yeah. So, your liver and onions and stir fries and, turkey dinosaurs. And,
you've got a few siblings, haven't you? So it was a big family. You grew up in a house where probably, you had to think about feeding a good amount of people, making sure they're all fed.
Five kids, one adult. Yeah. It's it's a lot to do.
Did you scrap over the dinner table?
Not really. We just scrapped all the time.
Winner stays on.
Winner gets the turkey twizzler.
Exactly.
I read somewhere that barbecue was kind of a prominent early place in a memory when you were sort of growing up and stuff. Like the barbecue was a bit of your core memory when you were growing up. Can you tell us a bit about how you first sort of come into barbecue food?
Yeah, I mean, we say barbecue is such a loose term, especially nowadays where, all the modern style barbecue kits and all that sort of cooking is absolutely just shot up wildfire. But my actual memories of a barbecue is, like I just said, burnt burgers, and Richmond sausages on the grill, and that sort of thing. You wouldn't see a salad, and
it's my kind of barbecue.
Yes, snap.
That was it. But I tell you what, it was more of the family sort of connection what we had with each other. We'd go to my granddad's and we'll, my mum would get on the grill and that sort of thing. So it's more of the memories of the family time rather than anything, because it was the one time where we all spent it together. So
I think food does that generally. It just brings everyone together. It's such a powerful social situation, and like it's something you kind of remember to, think about childhood memories and eating. You all come together where you're busy with your own lives, but at the dinner table, everyone comes together. It's probably the only time that you actually, as a family, do sit together and share
100%.
an experience.
Yeah.
So we were sort of talking about your earliest food memories, and then when you started to kind of develop an interest in food, what was the turning point of like, bloody hell, like actually this is something I actually really think I want to do? When was the flick of like, it's a job call, or it's paying, to actually, I'm either good at this or I'm actually finding passion and interest in learning new things? Was there a moment where you're like, you felt that switch flick into?
I don't know, because I started in the trade just purely for a way of making a bit of cash on the weekend as a pot wash, and it weren't until I met Chris where it was sort of like, oh, hold on a minute. This is fucking great. There's always one comment what he always said, and once I was exposed to it, I was like, shit, this is how the rich live. Like, this is they eat this shit on a daily basis.
We need to get into this club.
But that was it. It was like, if you can't afford a Ferrari, you work for Ferrari and you're going to experience Ferrari. So I was like, you know what? Like, I love this. I love the style of food. I love the regimented sort of fine dining kitchen regime that, whether you're labeling something or whether you're breaking down a lobe of foie gras, it's got to be absolutely perfect no matter what.
That meticulous nature of it all being.
So it was a whole new world. And I felt free. It was an escape from everything what was going on in my life. It was escape from the past. It was escape from my hometown. It was like, and I could be a different person. I could be someone who I wanted to be, and I could build myself.
I think that's super interesting, because when you speak to a lot of chefs and like, it's an eclectic bunch, you do have all types of walks of life, but the through line of most people is, it's almost like the kitchen's a place where they can kind of forget anything outside and all different backgrounds, but in the kitchen you're all on the same level in terms of, doesn't matter what country, creed, race, whatever, cook good food, you're passionate about it, you work in an environment where you're all working to one goal. I think it's something you hear a lot, and then actually out of work you realise how different you are as people, and actually if it wasn't for the kitchen you probably wouldn't be in a situation you'd meet half these people. I think that's super powerful. So it's quite interesting when you said that, because that's one thing I see. I think when you are talking about the escape and stuff, I think that's quite powerful. I think it's key to point out, when you said escape, it can be a good way to kind of get away from the day-to-day bits and focus, but actually there's a question whether how healthy that is, working yourself to death as a way to kind of get away from sad times. How do you look at it? Do you find it actually it's something to focus on and it's working towards a better future, or did you find it more just getting away from whether it's a home life or a bad situation?
I think in any situation like that you've got to find a medium, right? So you have to face your issues head on, otherwise they're always going to be at the back of your mind. And my granddad was a wise man, a very wise man. So he always used to say to me, if you don't face whatever problems you're going through, they're going to bite you in the ass 10 years later. I did it a really unhealthy way. And I just went head down, straight into a kitchen, working as many hours as I possibly could, doing as much as I possibly could, and burnt myself out quite a few times, and, didn't want to wake up and go back. But I think now I've got to the point where it's like, well, actually, like, there is people around you who want to help you. Sometimes you just need to put your arm out.
100%.
So it is good in a way, because you can hyper focus, you can become a better chef,
for sure,
a better professional in any sort of way, but you also need to face the problem head on.
Would you agree nowadays it's a lot easier to find that help and also speak to people? There's various organisations that are really big in the scene. So if you are going through stuff, it's actually easier now than maybe probably 20, 30 years ago, pre kind of kitchen days for our times, where most people would suppress it. Like nowadays, you have the option to really try and find that help, and I think that's really a really good thing that's come out of the industry in the last sort of, I'd say 5, 6, 7, 8 years, where you know it's okay to kind of speak to people and get that support, and if it's not in your own kitchen, because there are some instances where there isn't a point to be able to talk to people, but there are places where you can go, and like the Burnt Chef Project, for instance, are doing fantastic things, and it's amazing to see. And I guess have you tapped into that, or is that something you're quite happy to see? And
very big advocate of Hospitality Action. They've helped me personally in my life, and I think it's not only just the industry either. I think it's the world. I think the world's become a bit more aware.
I think it has to as well. The world's changing. And I think there's a lot of people that aren't coming through. There's a lot less chefs coming through the colleges. And I think the industry's trying to change itself to be a bit more sort of accessible for people that are probably a bit like, kitchen's a big scary place, it's high pressure, you're going to get shouted at, and you have to earn your job every day, and some days you might not come in and there'll be a job there. Where actually, I think we need to try and make it a bit more accessible and a bit more attractive, because it is a struggling industry now in terms of recruitment.
I think it does in a way, 100%. But I also do think that no matter what industry you choose, no matter what you choose to do, if you want to be the best at it, you've got to put the work in, you've got to put the effort. If you want to be the best shelf stacker, you've got to get in there first. You've got to do everything right first time, every time. So it is definitely a line.
For
needs
sure.
to be drawn in the ground.
Sure.
You can't make the best knives you possibly can without putting all that effort in and all that time. And you can't do 8 hours, you can't do 4, 5, 6, 8 hours a day and produce.
Would dream of it.
Yeah, all right.
But you can't.
No, you physically can't.
And people need to people need to really click with that.
Yeah, for sure.
But then also it needs to be a balance of a lifestyle. So whether you put in them 14, 15 hours a day for 4 days a week and then have 3 days a week off, that I mean, obviously a lot of restaurants now are doing that. And I do believe that's the way forward.
I think it just gives people a chance to breathe because, on food memories, is there a restaurant or dining experience you've had that really changed your perception of the industry or made you kind of think, bloody hell, like this is where I need to get to? Is there a moment where, I think most of us, there's, you could learn 10 things a day to the day you die. Is there a restaurant or an experience you've had where it kind of humbled you to think, bloody hell, like Jesus Christ, there's levels to this, and I want to explore how to get there? Is there a memory where it's a meal or a chef or an interaction or a demo or anything like that where you like?
I think there's many things. I think restaurants is probably the biggest one for me, definitely. But I think it can be so simple as an ingredient for me.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, it really can.
Get inspired by an ingredient.
Yeah. Or even a plate, or even like walking down the canal, and I'll be like, "Fuck, I'd love to be able to create a dish what looks like that." Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. So I think daily life just inspires me, but there's definitely standout chefs. There's definitely standout experiences what I've had. Ophine was definitely one of them. When he had 1 star, I went and ate there. I did a day in the kitchen the day before, and it was like, oh fuck, this is what Indian food can be. Because my favourite thing to eat is a curry. Whether it's Thai curry, Indian curry, like it doesn't matter. I think curry. So
we're passionate about curry.
Love curry. But to experience them flavours in a different style and a different way, it was like, shit, hold on a minute, actually, if you break down the ingredient, that's where you need to start off with.
That's the interesting bit. So for if we skip to MasterChef as a thing, Day as a restaurant for me, when I was watching that episode, I was blown away, absolutely blown away. And I think I remember you saying on one of those pieces there about how you've just not experienced food like that done in that way
ever.
And it's incredible to think what he's doing there with traditional methods and traditional flavours. But then he's turning out food like that.
I mean, the flatbread, what you eat, the kebab. Like that is the exact same recipe as what his mum used to make.
That's mental, the heritage, yeah.
But I think it was like, again, it's a different cuisine. It's something what I've never worked in. And the way he did it, but his aura, man. Fuck, this guy's serious.
He looked intense.
Yeah, but have you ever met someone where you just walk into a room and like, just you can feel
the room changes. It's an energy.
It just brings a certain energy. And
that's a mixture of their prowess and your expectation as well. It's a respect. It's an instant respect knowing what this person's achieved.
100%. But he just walks into the restaurant, man, and you're like, fuck.
Doors just open without anyone behind. So basically, he's from Star Wars. He's a Jedi.
Yeah.
He's fucking
Did you go in there potentially thinking you knew what to expect? And the reason I say it's because I was going to Paris. I thought I'm going to see things I'm kind of expecting, but then I couldn't believe how light it was and the lack of dairy. Did you go there thinking I'm going to recognise some of this, or did you go like this is completely alien? I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, I think me, George, and Kiara all spoke about it, and we weren't aware of Dede before we got told, right? And I think quite a lot of people were as well in the same position.
Same.
Never heard of it.
So we didn't have any expectations. We were just sort of like, oh, you know, I wonder what's going to happen. And then when we walked in, I looked at the restaurant, we're like, fuck. This is business. This is the shit. Walked out to the back where he's got like his barbecue and his outdoor
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dreamy.
We were messaging each other, weren't we, when it was on? Going on. Have you seen how many fires are going down here?
It's a restaurant dream. Like even the equipment is insane. The level of chefs in there are insane.
Wow.
And the majority of them are like interns. You know, he flies.
They're locked in, right?
Locked in, you know, and he will look after them. But every single person in there, no matter whether there was a pot wash, his head chef, his senior sous, the restaurant manager, everybody was his family. And I think that's why it was so special because you can produce incredible food, but if you haven't got the vibe there, if you haven't got the staff morale there,
right? You set this culture and this precedent of standards, and you're either in it or you're not, and it's very, very much black and white.
And you can have a standard, and you can require a standard, and you don't have to be a dickhead. That's the beautiful thing about that's the way he came across. He was very on it, very passionate, and his standards were stupidly high. But he wasn't an arsehole, was he? He just came across as the nicest guy.
Well, you saw in one of the challenges when he was eating the food that you guys were, put to produce to him after trying his food. It was like, right, hopefully I've inspired you. Cook back to me. Yeah. When he was eating the food, he was like it was like him going, "You're fucking, you smashed it. Yeah, you get it." And it was like you saw him change. And
I'm going to jump in here talking the challenges. So obviously, MasterChef challenge. The skills test. I mean, come on, let's talk about that. I think let's jump over to Al for this segment of skills test.
So, I imagine that there is nothing more terrifying for a chef than being on national TV and saying, "This is the dish I want you to cook. Go cook it." Like, how did you feel when you were presented with that? And what is the anticipation?
You're stressed out thinking about
blocked out.
Yeah, I don't want to open any wounds here, but do you know what?
I need my therapist here for this shit.
Well, actually, Dan, I tell you what, we'll change the tone. Actually, Wolfie, can you mind bringing in the prop?
We've got some. You might recognise this music, Babs.
See, I don't know what's going on. And I knew they were doing something.
Bollocks.
Look, now this for those listeners that can't see what's coming,
it looks like a skills challenge.
This is an absolute stitch up for Chef James Peck. We have recreated the skills test that Dan had to go through, and we're giving James the same skills test. Wolf is here, aka, well, it's just Wolf, isn't it? He's not known as anything else.
See, you know what I said about atmospherics? You just referenced that I knew that you guys were up to something.
So, for those of you who can't see this, we've presented James with a couple of aubergines and the ingredients that Dan had to do his
just for
skills
reference.
Test. Yeah.
Dan, did you get £9 and one induction, so you can only do one thing at a time? Just want to...
Yeah.
Right, there we go. So James, you have got, Dan, you had 20 minutes, right, for your skills test. So we'll probably give James 15.
15 max.
15 max.
Can I have my brief then, please?
So your brief, James, is to make a aubergine steak glazed with miso and soy, served with a spicy peanut sauce.
But I've got one pan.
You've got one. Yeah, you've got one hob.
Yeah, sound.
The rest of it is up to you, chef. So obviously Ben makes some of the finest knives in the country. We're obviously not going to give you one of them. So we. We have given James, for the listeners, a
I'm
plastic
weirdly
knife.
confident about this. If I had another induction, but let's go. I'm having
Yeah, okay.
So that is my daughter's training knife, which
Your daughters, mate. You're still training me, man. Yeah,
I did stab myself yesterday. Actually,
That's the sort of shit you get in Mackies, isn't it?
Exactly.
While I do this, are you cracking on?
Yeah,
We're
so-
gonna crack on.
that makes it less intense.
So we're gonna talk to Dan through his MasterChef experience, whilst you on the side.
Have I got
are
water?
knocking up. Yeah, there's a tap out.
Just chat about that, mate. You'll be fine. So, skills test wise, on MasterChef, you look at it as a viewer. You sit down and you go, actually, yeah, I could get my head around that. But you've seen the person make the dish, so you've just seen them do it. So that's the forefront.
Dan won't see
but
that.
you
You
don't see
don't
that, do
see
you?
it, do you?
You don't see that at all.
No.
And you've then got to just be presented with a shitload of ingredients. He's getting busy now. A shitload of ingredients that you just have to go for. He's even got an off.
Sainsbury's finest.
Sainsbury's finest. And other supermarkets are available. So that must be, and that's the first piece. That's your first introduction to to being shot, on MasterChef for filming. That must be absolutely fucking horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, whoever created this skills test is an absolute fucking genius. Bane of my life, but a genius, because it literally is that. It isn't about the dish. It isn't about the cooking.
No.
Like, what it's about is you haven't met anyone. You haven't, been in the studio. You've got nothing.
So
to go
you
off.
don't go in and have a look around
you've got
first. You are
nothing to
literally
go off,
going
man.
in.
What you see, and I think that's the beauty of this competition and being on the other side of it as well, is realizing that actually everything you see on camera is the majority of it is exactly how it is.
Right.
So your timings are exactly how they are. Your challenges when you're like the invention tests and that sort of stuff. That's exactly how it is. So
And from so if you're stood there, you're frozen. Imagine you're frozen. You don't know what to do. No one's giving you come on, Dan, just do that. Does Marcus kind of take pity on you and go, Dan, come on?
no, I think at the end of the day, look, all the judges don't want to see you fail.
Yeah.
They're not nasty people.
No.
They are good people with a great heart.
Yeah.
So they don't want to see you fail. They don't want to see anybody make a tit of themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously going to backfire.
Apart
on
from
them
James,
as well.
we want to see James make a tit of himself. Of course we do.
But yeah, and I mean, I forgot how to talk. I forgot my name.
Yeah.
This is something what you've done as a chef multiple times, again and again and again and again. But you just forget everything. But I wasn't talking, so they were just trying to. So James, what are you doing next?
I haven't got a spoon, water, salt.
You have. You got you got spoon.
I've got a spoon, sorry.
Salt's in there.
What I'm doing is I'm working on a bench that's tall enough for a child. I'm putting my ocean down, I've scored them, I've pushed them down, and I'm going to have to work backwards because I've only got one pan.
We can't hear you, can we? Yeah, that's one good point. No one else can hear you here, James. So
Sorry.
if you talking to your
Can you
little
repeat the
microphone.
question, please, Marcus?
Who wants to be Marcus?
So
I'll be Marcus.
What have you got in that pan there, James?
So I've got some aubergines. So we're doing an aubergine steak. So I've cut it in half because I don't have a lot of time. I've done a little cross kind of score, seasoned it up a little bit, nice hot pan, toasting it. Going to get the aubergine breaking down. Then we're going to work onto the sauce, do one pat wonder because that's all I've got. Thanks, guys. So yeah, I believe this is my kind of cooking. It represents me. I am an aubergine.
Yes, you are, pal. Yes.
Quite a small aubergine.
Did you have to work under these conditions with on your kneecaps?
Listen, I'm sure the pressure was.
Challenge, right? And we need to adapt and overcome, James.
I'm going to try and cut
There you go. Listen to Dan.
Adapt and overcome.
Advice from a
try and cut the
champion.
garlic with my.
Advice from a champion.
So you said when you got here off camera about you saw MasterChef as a challenge. You just saw that as a competition.
Yeah.
You didn't see it as a TV show. You didn't see it as anything other than, bosh, I'm doing this. I'm focused, head down. This is it. And in the back of your mind, were you going, I want to win this. This is what I want to do. I'm in this competition to win it. End of.
No, I never had in the back of my mind like, yeah, I'm going to win. This is what I want to do. This is it. Like, I never had that once. It was I've never done a competition before.
Yeah.
Never. So yeah, it was off a sort of a whim. If you might as well say it. Yeah. It was off a whim to go into it. But like, the only thing what I cared about was not going home like after the skills test. I just didn't want to go home after the skills
Yeah.
test, and that was it. And if I got through that part, I would be happy. And I got through it, and I was happy. So then I started taking round by round. And even when we was on the final 3 and doing final cook, me, George, and Kiara were so close together at that point that we did not care who won.
Bless.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was, we're just cooking. Like, we're just going to enjoy this. Yeah. We all went in there and just had a laugh with each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, mid cook, you'll just see us like having a laugh with each other. Or me and George nearly bumping into each other. It's like, there you go, mate, go on.
That really came across. Yeah. Like, when you were watching it as a viewer, it did really feel like you cared for each other. Because obviously it's a competition on one side. So I guess there's part of you going, I really don't want you to fuck this up, actually. But it didn't feel like that. No. Just explain that kind of dynamic. There you go. Treat yourself, chef.
Just for anyone that's listening and not watching, I've picked up greaseproof paper with a plate-sized hole in it.
Brilliant. I'm loving this. Yeah, but it did
this.
That's stock, chicken stock.
Chicken stock. There we go. Oh, we're getting some nice background. I'm liking this. The background sizzles. This is good.
I've got a cartouche,
Yeah.
kind of.
For those who don't know what a cartouche is,
It's a very nicely, neatly, meticulously folded paper, which is perfect to the size, the diameter of the pan, that allows steam to stay in within the vessel that you're cooking the object with.
he's good, isn't he?
Very good,
It's
yeah.
like he's
I
just
haven't got that, so.
I mean, you could have just ripped that bit off and got another bit.
He's just
wanted-
making do.
Yeah, he wanted to make
Floyd on
it. To make it hard for himself.
Yeah.
So Dan, let me take you back to after the skills test. So then you go and cook your 2-course signature menu, whatever. How do you pick? How did you pick what you were going to cook? Did you pick something that you knew you could nail? Did you pick something that you knew would impress? Did you what was your thought process going into that?
I think every single round I just picked what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't care what. Obviously, sometimes you've got to follow the brief, but everything what I chose to do is something what I wanted to do. So like the signature round, it was like I love beetroot, I love venison, and wild garlic is bang in season right now. So it's like that's what I want to do. So I based my dish around that.
Yeah.
And same again for the dessert. Calamansi is one of my favourite things to eat ever, and it works perfectly with chocolate. Yeah. So I was like, I'm doing chocolate and calamansi, and so it was an element of I just want to do me.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
I weren't out to impress. I think if they liked it, they liked it.
Yeah.
But as long as I was happy with what I produced, then that's what I cared about.
Yeah, nice.
Amazing.
And did you feel under pressure? Because it's fair to say the skills test wasn't brilliant for you. That was, watching back, that was definitely your kind of least I've absolutely nailed it round, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So did you
put really diplomatically?
I know,
Your least I've not nailed it round.
Yeah, you fucked it, mate. You fucked it.
You fucked it. Right. You fucked it right up. It was dog shit, but you won it, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
I made 2 sauces, Dan. And I weren't happy with either.
It was
it was horrible.
Yeah. So are you feeling on the ropes for that signature? You're like, I've got to nail this or I'm gone.
Yeah. I just sort of like that's it. This is the be all and end all. This potentially could be my last chance to prove myself, and it was like, right, that's it. Let's go sort of as hard as I can, and it works out. It worked out.
Well, you absolutely nailed it, didn't you? Like the feedback is quite interesting because from that skills test where it was a bit, he's done all right, but this could have been better. This could have been better. Actually, I don't think you had a bad round from then. It was you and Gaston, I think, probably got the most consistent feedback throughout, and then obviously what happened to Gaston? What happened to Gaston horrible when he dropped his sauce? Oh man! But the critics round. So I read, is that the first time you'd ever cooked for proper critics? Your own food? Yeah.
So I mean, everywhere I've been, I've always worked under someone. I've always worked for someone. We've developed dishes with that person.
Yeah.
It's never been like, this is my dish, it's going on the menu. It's always, even if I have done my dish, it's always been tweaked to the chef, right? Which is rightly so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like the first time I've ever cooked for a critic with my own personal sort of food and flavors. And yeah, that was honestly, that was probably one of the hardest rounds.
I was going to say, does that add an extra? Because you're cooking for Marcus and Monica, who are like big time. Like you'd be terrified cooking for them. But the critics adds an extra level of pressure, does it? Like,
yeah, 100%. And the fact that you've got to produce, so it was 4 plates of each dish in 1 hour, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I chose to do fucking lobster, fucking moose brill, like 13 different elements on each dish. And but obviously that's my thing. That's how I sort of work, and that's what I do. And I got it nailed. Obviously the moose split on the brill, and I thought that was it, game over. Like I served the food, went out crying, and like, oh, I'm not doing my interview now. You can fuck off.
Really?
Yeah, I was
really
like, no, I'm not doing it.
Full toys out the problem.
Yeah, like I'm going home. Like, why do you need an interview from me? Like
That might be James in a minute, to be fair. This is dog shit.
Because a little bird told us, Dan, you were racing around London the night before trying to find this setting agent for the moose that split.
Yeah, shout out Chet Sharma. Yeah, thank you, Chet. But no, it generally was, man. Like, I pulled it out and I was like, fuck. Like this is it. I'm going home. Everything's ruined because of this one tiny thing.
Yeah.
But obviously it didn't turn out like that. Because you don't hear anything what anybody says in that round until it's aired on TV.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So you don't hear, you get no. You have no idea until you're watching it.
Until you watch it yourself. So yeah, and obviously when I watched it, I was like, I was sat there on the edge of my seat, like, fuck, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? And obviously the feedback was just all mega positive, and I was a bit starstruck. I was a bit like, no fucking way.
Yeah,
amazing.
Because in my head, that it was fast.
Yeah, because of the moose.
Yeah. And I felt like that for 4 months after. So,
so you were expecting the critics to go, it was all right, but it was all right, but it would have been great.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember Monica, she came up to my shoulder and I was like, oh, what's happened? And I'm like, oh, the moose is split. And then she tasted it and it was like, oh, that's a real shame because that's absolutely delicious.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Cheers, pal.
So at that point, I was like, nah, I'm done. Like that's it. I'm fucked. But no, it was good. It was good.
And what about the critic you'd most like to go for a pint with? Who are we saying?
I can't say that, can I? Can't favour one.
I can't single one out. Well, no, because if
all of them.
Well, we'll go first.
Restaurant
Who are you going for a pint with?
Who am I going for a pint with? Grace Dent.
Yeah. I'll join you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Sound.
And Jay Rayner as well. I'd have a pint.
Jay Rayner,
I'd like a pint with Jay Rayner.
Yeah.
You can get that done.
Yeah.
All of them.
That is it. That is it.
Tried to set him up. He can't favour one if he's looking to set up his own stuff. You've got to keep
the critics happy.
I think the beauty of the critics, what they have on the TV, is each one is so individually different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've all got different palettes, completely different palettes.
Yeah.
So I remember watching somewhere one of them would be like, "This is absolutely fucking incredible," and the other one,
yeah. So, but that's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because how seriously, as a chef, we talked about this in the last podcast about TripAdvisor and people's experiences about your place and the reviews, and everyone's got a different palate, everyone's got different expectations, everyone's got different views about what it should be. So in that respect, from a critic point of view, they've all got totally different taste buds, haven't they? So how seriously do you take a critic? Because it could make or break a restaurant, realistically.
It can, yeah.
So are you taking that to heart as a chef and going, well, actually, I'm not bothered you didn't really like it? Because you can't please everyone, can you?
Food is subjective.
Of course.
First and foremost, it's subjective. You all like something what I don't like.
Yeah.
I hate cheese and onion crisps. I like cheese and onion crisps, but
it's not my favourite, but
oh, it's salt and vinegar pack.
Correct. There we are, Babs. There we are. He knows it.
But it is. It really is. So I think what I take from it anyway is pointers. And sort of what's the word? Constructive criticism. Yeah. So what I really focus on if I'm getting critiqued is number one, the mouthfeel. How does it eat? Not the flavors.
Right.
How does it eat? How does it feel on your palate? How does it feel when you're eating into it? Does it need, more texture? So that's the number one thing I look at, because flavors are subjective, but texture isn't as subjective as flavour.
It's either crispy or it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So that's what I first and foremost look at. And then I'll look into the flavours, and then I'll look into the artistry of it, and how does it look? When you look at it, how does it visualise for you? So, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
No.
End of. Yeah. That's why there's so many different restaurants and so many different cuisines and styles. And
And that's the attitude to
Tom
approach.
gave quite a similar answer.
He did.
Because we read some of his negative feedback to him, and like watching him, he was kind of like, well, that's us. That's how we do. Everyone's not going to love it. I can't do everything that everyone's going to love. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right, well, we're welcoming back
Don't look down.
James. We're welcoming back James Peck
Can I
to the
just have a
table.
caveat of what I did and didn't have?
Right, listen.
No oven cloth.
What we had
oven.
in this was absolute pure bliss. No James Peck
Yeah.
gobbing over everybody for 10 minutes. So actually, if this could be a feature going forward,
Making a feature.
that'd be absolutely fantastic.
I'm
there was
actually quite proud.
There was a lot of clattering about over there.
Yeah.
So hopefully we've got
It was
some.
mostly my back trying to get to the bottom shelf.
Those long
Come on,
legs.
James, talk us through what you did.
Okay, cool. So I got my one pan and I toasted my aubergine. Got it nice, kind of just sort of coming to tender. Then I made a one pan bang sauce. So I used that chicken stock after I toasted off some of that ginger, got some of those spices toasted down, a little bit of the chili. And then I started cooking out a bit of tamarind. Then I added chicken stock, reduced it to a bit when I started to get a bit of flavour in the sauce, should we say.
There we go.
Then deglazed with a little bit of coconut milk and then just added chicken stock till I got kind of a well-rounded flavour. And then just sort of add a little bit of vinegar just to have a little bit of sharp back. So yeah, we've got a creamy, coconutty, peanut-based, slightly
Come on then.
spicy.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd normally wipe the plate because I don't have anything. You'll have to forgive
Are we going to let Dan? We're going to let Dan judge it.
Dan, be kind, please.
I'm formed.
I need
I won't be kind.
I need to get the carving knife out.
I mean, presentation
You
wise,
gave me a dinner lady fucking plate.
these aren't your plates, are they, Al?
Yeah.
Flipping it, mate.
Denby.
Where's the knives?
Yeah, Denby 80s, these are.
Yeah.
Let's.
look, mate, it smells great.
It does smell good,
You
actually.
can come back.
What do you want me to do with that? Right, I'm going to. Well,
You want about the aubergine or the knife?
Yeah, a bit of both.
While you cut that, I'll talk to Dan about the final 12. So
Please do.
final 12, everyone's cooking together. Before you
the
go
end for
into that room, are you all just sat in a holding room together? Because that must be intense.
Yeah, the final 12 is the first time you meet everybody.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got all your different heats and that sort of thing. So it's the first time you meet everybody, and that's where it's like, oh my fucking God, there's some real talent in here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. I mean, I remember when I first time met Danny, and I was like, we just instantly clicked. I never met her beforehand, so to learn about her and to learn about her past and where she's been, and it was like, fuck me, you're good. And then you got Jordan and Evan and two youngsters out of Simpsons, and it's like, fuck me, man, like the talent in here is fucking.
Were you allowed
real.
to talk during the show, or did they keep the background set? Like, were you told to sort of keep quiet about your backgrounds? Because I've known shows to do that where you're not allowed to really confer too much. So it's almost like all your paths are almost fresh for when you watch it. Or did you kind of know of the people and you were able to exchange kind of your CVs?
Because we were sort of put into a room together. You couldn't stop us.
Sure.
So, it's the first time you're meeting people who's been through the exact same process of you have. So you instantly connect. So yeah, it was just more of a case of like, where have you been? What do you do?
Being polite, but also like, what am I working against?
Yeah. So it was kind of,
Contact. Just let's get us in damage.
He's not going to let you off without trying. Do you know what? That's actually
It's not bad.
it's tasty.
It's not bad.
I had the end bit,
Which was shit.
so the mouthfeel was going back to that. That was that, but taste wise,
You didn't give me any oil, so that was a dry ass.
hey, listen, I'm not
Could have been
responsible.
worse, right?
So you
Yeah. Be kind.
Do you know what? I think you've
It's
done well with
actually
that,
all
mate.
right.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Is it as good as
Fuck
what
you
what
guys.
you knocked out, Dan?
I think it's better than mine.
The thing is, I ain't got the bollocks to go on that show, and I'll tell you that now.
Yeah.
If there's someone that's been in the industry 18 years, I would not do it. The pure fear of the ingredients you might not have been exposed to and not knowing what is coming around that corner, that's the bit I'd struggle with. I worked for a chef that was sous chef to Phil Howard for like 9 years. Spent 25, 30 years in his craft, 2-star level, a fucking serious chef. Didn't even make it onto TV bit because he was told to do like spun sugar. And they just said, no, mate, not for you. And fucked it off. What I saw that do to him after, post-show, well, post-fucking interview, is watch his confidence diminish. Yeah. And I think that has stuck me forever. Not to put a negative connotation on it, but like the actual power that show has onto people's perception and pressure. It's serious. You kind of alluded to the fact that you kind of not knowing what was coming and that skills change. But I think that's the one thing in the whole show that I'd be most worried about, or probably procrastinate the most about.
And it is brutal though, because there's so much that skills test could offer. Yeah. Like, you know, dress that crab.
I've seen him do uni and stuff. How many chefs get to play with fucking uni? Yeah. I've never seen it.
No, not fresh.
Ever. Fresh uni, no. So it's like, it's the exposure that I think could be like, well, I haven't worked at a 2-star that is even in a position to have these kind of ingredients.
Yeah.
You know? So it's why I think that's the bit I'd be most nervous about. But fucking kudos to you for throwing yourself in that.
Horrifying.
Right, let me try soap machine.
Yeah. Do you know, you've done well, mate. So
you don't have to. You don't have to.
last couple on the MasterChef experience, Dan. Worst moment from the show. What was did you have a moment where you were like, I can't be bothered with this anymore, I'm out? Like, was there anything like that?
Tell us, Daniel.
Say it.
No, I don't. To be honest, I don't really think there was. I think it was it was a haven for me. It was a safe space. It was a break. I mean, Ernie was born. They wanted me to come and do my first initial interview, and it was Ernie's due date.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so then 9 days after, I'm still on paternity at this point, I went down to London for an interview. I think my first ever filming date, he was 3 months old. So throughout the whole process, I've got a newborn baby at home. I've just left Northcote. I've gone to a normal country pub for a lifestyle choice and for a change. So it was like, right, I've got the freedom to do whatever I want to do.
How easy would it have been not to do it? That's the thing. Like the thing is, like from now knowing what you know now, getting through and winning it, how easy it would have been to just not do it because of the stuff you had going on. That's the real.
Yeah, I think, but it was the one time where I had the chance to be able to do it because Chloe's on maternity. I've just gone to a country pub where I get 3 days off a week, and they've given me full support to be able to do it. Yeah. So I think if I didn't do it this year, I would have never been able to do it.
So you felt like you had to strike.
Oh, that's in contrast to that best moment. Apart from the moment you're announced as the winner, which obviously is going to be the best moment, is there another moment that stands out to you?
There's many, and I think every single contestant will tell you the exact same thing. Yeah. Throughout the whole competition, there's been absolutely incredible moments. When we were in Ireland and off camera, like completely off camera, and we're just chilling. Like we've created a family of our own, and we're all brothers and sisters, sort of thing. So it's like, you can't pick a best moment. You can't. Yeah. Even winning it weren't a best moment. That was a shock. That was like, I didn't expect to win. Yeah. Didn't expect to win at all. I mean, like, I looked at what George cooked. I tasted what he cooked, and I went, fuck me. Yeah. That is mental. Yeah. Like, you fucking nailed it there, bro. Like, you've won. And we even came out, and I was like, mate, you've won, you have. And, you know, obviously didn't, but...
Oh, poor George. Mate, he loves it. He loves it. He loves it.
A news break. It was fixed.
No, but like, because obviously you get used to your own food. You get used to your own food.
Yeah, 100%. I ain't getting used to that. I'm not going to be honest.
Thank God for that.
Your own flavours. So when you're tasting somebody else's flavours and they've absolutely nailed it,
you get immune to your palate almost. Yeah,
exactly. Sure. It was like, fuck, that's seriously good. But yeah, man, I think. Yeah, best moments are probably the majority of the time. I mean, pop-up round with Chloe, that was, we had such an amazing day there. That was just ace. That was just fun.
Would you do it all again? Talking how amazing it was, would you do it again?
You know what? If obviously winning or not, if I could experience the same experiences I did, then yeah.
Amazing.
Basically, if you again, you do it
once in a lifetime. Like it's insane. It's insane.
Incredible.
It's the experience.
So what now? What's the plan for Dan? What are you gonna do? What do you want to achieve? You said you've got goals, personal goals.
Yeah,
I've
always had personal goals.
Yeah.
I've always had personal goals and things that I want to achieve within a restaurant setting, or things I want to achieve with myself. But I think that there isn't much of a plan.
I like it.
It's sort of like I'm doing a lot of guest chefs, a lot of collabs, which I'm really enjoying, because I get to do my style of food with somebody else's style of food. Yeah. Like me and Ollie just did one for Maven, and it made it was fucking mega.
Yeah.
Like the menu was like, shit, that's a fucking decent menu. So, and that's what makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Like producing amazing stuff with great people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's more of a case of just choosing who I want to work with, working with the restaurants that I want to, with the chefs that I want to, and having an opportunity to produce my food without any of the ball ache and hassle of overheads and electricity and gas and
The fun stuff.
Yeah, all the good things.
So and I'm not going to get this chance for a long time, right? Because there's a new winner next year. So yeah, just taking it while I can and enjoying it.
It's a scary place to step out into at the minute in terms of the restaurant world. But I feel like if you're as passionate as you are, which you clearly are, I think it's all the right recipe for like becoming successful in that space. I think it's knowing that the work starts now in the restaurant scene. Like I can say personally, the hardest day I've ever worked was like the first few months of your own thing, when toilets are leaking and things like that, and all this shit you don't think about, you didn't train yourself for.
No,
it's almost like bloody hell. You think it's going to be this dream, but I think having the fun and the opportunity to go and cook with people, I think what a way to get insight into, okay, like if I was going to do it for myself, this is the kind of style of food, these are the kind of people that I try and pull in. I think it's a perfect way to go about it without that initial pressure as well. Having fun. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you do one in Nottingham, aren't you?
Yeah, me and Richie.
Richie
I mean, that's a completely different setting. That's so we're doing like a ready, steady cook.
How are you?
Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah, and I'm going to be cooking vegan food. So,
Are you going to do vegan?
It was more of a case of like, obviously, he's a fully plant-based restaurant. It wouldn't be fair on him or the customers if I start cooking with some beef.
slab of beef.
Just bringing a bit of A5 with me, mate. Like,
Not even cooking it either.
Chewing it.
exactly. So that was more of a case of like, you know what, we want to do something together, because we started off the competition together from day one. Like our skills test was exactly the same. So we just gelled, connected. And from then we was like, we've got to do something together. And it doesn't need to be serious. We can have a bit of fun with it. We can have a laugh with it. We can just have a good night. So he came up with this bloody steady cook thing. And
am I right in that after the diners have eaten, they're going to vote on whose dish they like the best?
Oh, are they?
That's cool.
Oh, I quite like that.
Yeah, it's completely different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it red pepper, green pepper?
That's it.
Yeah.
Ainsley Harriet.
Ainsley Harriet.
Get some more because the oil.
It's all about horrendous.
You want to try and get it for the night? Surely.
After that.
I think
The thing is, though, you can knock on his door and you tell him you want him there and get him to compare. Ainsley, listen, I need you for an evening.
That'd be good, actually. You can do an appeal now for Ainsley. For the night.
Ainsley, if you're listening.
Ainsley, bring your peppers, we're having it, Babs.
Number one, bring your peppers, Babs. Damn wants you. And then we'll want to see you sat here with your shopping bags. That's what we want for the next podcast, please. Oh, man. Amazing. Well, Dan, thank you for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here and to listen to your story and how it's all working out. And, all the best for the future, because top bloke, mate. Really appreciate you. And thank you.
Remember us when you open.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Opening night, just remember.
Yeah, but don't get James cooking that dish, because
Don't get me started on that. I'm going to hang it up. It's probably me finished now.
Sorry, we've just done James Peck's career. He's over.
It was coming anyway.
And guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you so much. You're a fucking piece of shit. I'm into it.
Mate, you talking.